Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
I would hope he would think about it and this would be in his mind, but I wouldn't actually know what another person is feeling.
We thought this was just about Diddy. We thought 50 Cent was setting his sights on the bad boy mogul alone. But now, oh no, he's cracking open a vault much deeper and far more dangerous. Because in his upcoming documentary, 50 Cent isn't just exposing Diddy's alleged web of abuse and manipulation. He's gunning straight for Jay-Z, a man whose entire empire has been built on polished family images, tightly controlled narratives, and a vault of secrets thicker than the Rockefeller archives. The most damning piece of evidence, Ramir Sadithwaite, is stepping up to the mic. That would be something I really would want to find out because, in the future, and this time he's not knocking on courtroom doors. He's stepping into the cinematic spotlight handed to him by 50 Cent himself. This isn't some internet rumor dug out from a Reddit thread. Ramir's been battling this for over a decade. He says his mother, Wanda, was just 16 when she had an intimate encounter with Sean Carter back in 1992. She swore it under oath before her passing in 2019. Her final truth that Jay-Z is the father of her child born in the summer of '93. Since then, Ramir has been fighting what he calls a deliberate campaign of obstruction, manipulation, and outright fraud by Jay-Z's legal team. And if 50 Cent's film makes good on its promises, we're about to witness the unraveling of one of the most carefully managed reputations in entertainment history.
A long time ago, they're not friends now. They don't like each other, and yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down.
Be clear, this isn't just some man looking for attention. Rye's journey has been painful, public, and persistently silenced. The courts have played ping pong with jurisdiction. His mother's testimony has been buried in sealed documents, and attorneys have allegedly twisted facts to delay, dismiss, and deflect. Jay-Z's team even once claimed he had no ties to New Jersey, despite public records showing he owned homes there. When caught, they called.
I got older and my mom just continued to say the same thing and she never changed the name. She always was staying with the same name. I'm like, well, Mom, why? As I got to 16, 17, I'm like, Mom, you've been saying this since I was a kid. So it's like now my mom never lied to me. So why not believe?
But New Jersey law doesn't take kindly to attorneys who knowingly misrepresent facts. Ramir says this wasn't incompetence. It was a strategy, and behind that strategy, he believes is a single chilling motive to cover up the truth that Wanda was underage and that Jay-Z never wanted the world to know what really happened.
Well, basically, my mom was at a show and she was with a friend. And I guess her and her friend stayed to, after the show, he was doing little signings and little autographs and stuff like that. I guess he wasn't too big, but I guess females, when the show is over, you can sign little autographs and stuff like that, talk to the people who performed. She said she went up there.
And here's where the stakes twist into something far darker. This paternity case isn't unfolding in isolation. It's gaining steam while Jay-Z faces a new lawsuit naming him in the same breath as Diddy, both accused of a shocking crime dating back to 2000 after an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty. The plaintiff, whose identity remains shielded, claims both men spiked her drink before taking turns violating her when she was only 13 years old. Jay-Z has fired back with defiance, calling it a blackmail attempt. "No, sir," he wrote. "I will not give you one red penny." But the court documents are filed, the lawyers are circling, and now this fresh legal onslaught runs parallel to the one thing Jay-Z's managed to dodge for 30 years, a paternity test. And who's the man gleefully connecting these threads? None other than Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. For years, we've seen him poke, prod, and provoke. But now he's doing what no one else in the music industry dared to do. He's handing Ramir a global platform, a film, a stage, a bullhorn. For decades, the gatekeepers of hip-hop circled the wagons around Jay-Z, kept his image squeaky clean, portrayed him as the loyal husband, the businessman, the father figure mogul. But when Ramir shows up on screen, backed by his mother's affidavit, court filings, and a legacy of rejection, all that polish begins to peel slowly.
I think a lot of people thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not. So this is actually a real project that's being made under his G-Unit movie and TV.
The emotional toll on Rye immense. In interviews, he doesn't ask for money. He asks for clarity, for dignity. This is not about greed or spectacle, he told the Daily Mail. It's about uncovering the truth. He says Jay-Z has never acknowledged him, never even sent a letter, a denial, or a simple answer. Silence, Rhymier says, has been the real punishment. And now it's that silence 50 Cent is dragging into the spotlight. If this documentary lands like it's expected to, Jay-Z won't be able to stay silent much longer. And then, of course, there's Beyoncé. Because while Jay-Z plays chess with lawsuits and avoids DNA swabs like they're subpoenas from the IRS, rumors have started bubbling up that things aren't so calm in the Carter household. One industry insider claims Beyoncé has had enough. She reportedly issued an ultimatum. Transparency or she walks. We're told she's working with a crisis strategist, that she's more concerned about protecting Blue Ivy and the twins than shielding her husband's legacy. After all, Beyoncé has spent her career building an empire of her own. Image, influence, power. And if Jay-Z's secrets threaten to burn that down, well, let's just say she's never been the type to go down with someone else's ship. That tension reportedly reached its peak at the Mufasa premiere. Jay-Z walked the carpet, smiling for cameras, while social media exploded with side eyes. Blue Ivy was there standing proudly. Beyoncé, too, regal as ever. But 50 Cent couldn't help himself. Jay said they said, "I did something to a kid," he posted, mocking, "Everybody get dressed. We're going to see Mufasa, LOL. He later deleted the post, but not before it spread like wildfire. Whether you think it's trolling or truth, the fact remains Jay-Z's smiling in public while his personal life is imploding behind the scenes.
Just different things that's not really beef though. That's just competitive.
Competitiveness.
All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
And while Jay-Z may be fending off allegations from one direction, the storm swirling around Diddy is dragging him into deeper, darker waters. This isn't just guilt by association, it's a decadesal-long entanglement. Jay-Z and Diddy didn't just build music empires. They built a machine. They moved together. They hosted the same parties, brokered the same deals, moved through the same velvet rope circles of influence. And let's not forget, this is all unfolding against the backdrop of his decadesal-long bond with Diddy. That brotherhood, that billionaire brunch alliance, the man who said, "Whenever I get in trouble, Jay-Z is the one I call." Well, now both names are surfacing in lawsuits. The crimes alleged span from coercion to abuse to outright exploitation. It's not a scandal anymore. It's a reckoning, and 50 Cent is fanning the flames, reminding the world that these icons didn't rise to power. They rose together, helped each other, protected each other, and now if one falls, the other might go down with him. Which is exactly why this documentary could become a cultural earthquake. If 50 Cent delivers what he's promising, if Rymier's story is told with receipts, if those sealed court files are cracked open, if Beyoncé's alleged ultimatum is real, then we're not just watching a feud. We're watching the collapse of a dynasty, Jay-Z, the businessman, the father, the husband. Every piece of that image is now in jeopardy. And the man swinging the wrecking ball, he's smiling like he's already won.
Has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
But now, the same man who once toasted Jay-Z at a black billionaire's brunch is sitting in jail, staring down a list of charges that reads more like a Hollywood thriller than a real-life indictment. And the real question hanging in the air, how much did Jay-Z know and how deep does this go?
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past, okay?
Industry whispers have been around for years, but nobody wanted to touch them. The white parties in the Hamptons, the NDA files thicker than album liner notes, the quiet settlements, the artists who vanished after speaking up. Former insiders have floated claims of a VIP blackmail ring, a calculated system of control allegedly used to ensure silence, suppress victims, and protect the untouchables. The theory that footage was taken, leverage collected, favors exchanged like currency, and loyalty bought at a steep price. All under the guise of celebration, and who was always at the center of those rooms? Jay-Z, Diddy, their circle, their fortress. Now, federal raids have already torn through Diddy's properties, seizing what investigators say could be damning evidence. Over 1,000 bottles of lubricant were cataloged. Yes, 1,000. And testimonies have surfaced alleging coercion, abuse, and trafficking under the guise of luxury. Some of these parties were attended by the highest profile names in entertainment, many of whom are suddenly scrambling for distance. And with 50 Cent's documentary reportedly tracking connections that go all the way back to the early 2000s, the narrative shifts from personal scandal to systemic rot. This isn't just a crisis for Jay-Z or Diddy. It's an indictment of how the industry allowed the powerful to self-police even as warning signs flashed like sirens.
This guy
50's not to be
no, don't
50's not to be
Fifth. Y'all don't even Fifth
play around if you want to.
Fifth is different.
And he's on tour.
And speaking of sirens, that brings us back to 50 Cent, the man many mocked as petty, trolling, obsessed. But now he's looking a lot more like the prophet in the shadows. For years, he's been hurling jabs, calling out Diddy's parties, Jay-Z's silence, even joking about needing protection before posting memes. He's accused both of hypocrisy, of hiding behind philanthropy while allegedly walking over broken lives, and what once seemed like clowning now feels calculated. Because this documentary isn't some revenge piece, it's strategic warfare. With Netflix backing the project and a director known for piercing cultural autopsies, 50 is not just going after individuals. He's coming for the entire illusion, and there's a reason it hits so hard. Because while Jay-Z's built a brand around transparency and social justice, he stayed silent while his closest ally faces human trafficking charges, not a public word against Diddy. Not a single call for accountability, just silence and increasingly shaky denials when his own name gets pulled into court filings. He's not the only one watching his legacy crack, but he might be the one with the most to lose and telling people who to sponsor. So if they want to harass Cadillac and T, that'll happen. Going after individuals, he's coming for the entire illusion. And there's a reason it hits so hard. Because while Jay-Z's built a brand around transparency and social justice, he stayed silent while his closest ally faces human trafficking charges, not a public word against Diddy. Not a single call for accountability, just silence and increasingly shaky denials when his own name gets pulled into court filings. He's not the only one watching his legacy crack, but he might be the one with the most to lose and telling people who to sponsor. So if they want to harass Cadillac and T, that'll happen.
And telling people who the sponsors are. So if they want to harass Cadillac and AT&T, that'll happen.
The human toll of this unraveling story is playing out most painfully behind the Carter family's closed doors. While Jay-Z navigates legal landmines and public scrutiny, it's Beyoncé who's reportedly been left to hold the emotional center together. This isn't just a brand crisis, it's a full-blown identity fracture. For a family that's built their legacy on elegance, control, and tightly choreographed unity, insiders say the emotional strain is hitting harder than any headline. Because beyond the stage lights and red carpets, there's the very real raw task of explaining to their children why the world is whispering their father's name with disgust. And of all their children, it's Blue Ivy, who now finds herself at the most delicate crossroads. She's no longer a toddler shielded from tabloids. She's a teenager with internet access, friends with questions, and a last name that echoes through every feed. She stood beside her, parents on the Mufasa red carpet with grace, but sources close to the family say the weight behind that smile was monumental. For years, she was the heir to a cultural throne. Now she may become the unwitting face of its collapse. And whether Beyoncé likes it or not, Blue Ivy's presence in the public eye is now inseparable from the scandal surrounding her father. Beyoncé's protective instincts are legendary, but even her meticulously managed image can't drown out the noise this time. Reports suggest she's torn, trying to preserve her family's public unity while wrestling with personal betrayal behind closed doors. Her silence, once a symbol of dignity, now reads as tension. Every step outside their LA mansion, every post, every appearance is dissected for signs of distance or distress, and with the internet drawing lines between her feminism, her activism, and her husband's alleged misconduct, the cognitive dissonance is splitting the fan base in two. Is she complicit? Is she trapped?
Back to that 50 Cent post, and I'm going to tell you why 50 is literally a diabolical genius.
The emotional stakes aren't confined to marital tension. We're talking about children growing up in a storm of commentary, half-truths, and invasive speculation. Their father's silence might be legal strategy, but to the kids, it's confusion. To Blue Ivy, it's a public relations war being fought with her face in the frame. And while Beyoncé reportedly works with crisis managers and publicists to contain the narrative, no amount of image control can erase the psychological impact of watching your family name trend for all the wrong reasons. Fame may offer money and privilege, but it offers no immunity from shame. And this is where the story shifts from scandal to tragedy. Because no matter how this plays out, whether Jay-Z fights the allegations or fades into damage control, his children will carry the legacy of this moment. Not the Grammys, not the business ventures. This, and while 50 Cent weaponizes the truth for entertainment, and fans draw battle lines on social media, it's easy to forget the quiet rooms where a family is trying to make sense of betrayal, public humiliation, and the slow erosion of trust. This isn't just the collapse of a brand, it's the psychological cost of empire. I think a lot of people thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not. So this is actually a real project that's being made under his A Gun It movie and TV studio. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is flipping the script. From artist to executive to cultural disruptor, he's leveraging every controversy into content. His previous projects showed he could build worlds. Now he's tearing one down. With access to court records, alleged victims, and perhaps most significantly Ramir Satwait, 50 Cent is staging a controlled demolition of the Jay-Z myth. And make no mistake, this is personal. The tension between them goes back over 2 decades. And now Faye is not just airing dirty laundry, he's laying out the receipts, wrapping them in a narrative, and daring the audience to look away. But the real drama might not be what we know. It's what we haven't seen yet. Because if 50 Cent's project really delivers on what insiders say it does, then we're about to see the inner sanctum of hip-hop's elite blown wide open. Rumors of other figures, some still in power, some clinging to relevance, are already beginning to surface. Whispers about deals made in silence, names buried in silence, careers traded for silence. If Jay-Z's reputation collapses under the weight of these revelations, who else is standing on that same cracked foundation?
There's different things that's not really beef though. That's just competitive. Energy,
competitiveness. All right. So you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
Okay,
like
damn. All right. I didn't know.
And here's the part that really makes us stop and look around. We've seen this before. Industries imploding when one brave, relentless figure peels back the curtain. The film industry had its reckoning. Tech had its fall from grace moment. And now it might just be music's turn. With billion-dollar brands on the line and public loyalty wearing thin, even a small leak in the dam could cause a flood. 50 Cent knows that. That's why his timing is razor sharp. That's why the documentary isn't just gossip. It's a challenge to the fans, to the press, to the people who always knew but said nothing. So here's the million-dollar question. If Jay-Z falls, who tumbles next? Could this be the moment where the velvet curtain finally drops, revealing not just one flawed icon, but a system built on silence, image, and unspoken power? We want to know what you think. Is Jay-Z's silence a sign of guilt, or the calm before a storm he knows is coming? Drop your thoughts below and don't hold back. We're watching this unfold together. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, even legends can bleed.